With more on what this visit means to Cubans, I'm joined by Canada's former ambassador to Cuba, Mark Entwistle. I want to begin here with an image that we just played for our audience at the top of this hour, and I'm going to ask our control room to take it right now because it is the meeting. There you have it right now with President Obama sitting down with Raul Castro. Yes. And I want to ask you, because you know Cuba intimately, you continue to visit the country even though that you're no longer ambassador to the country for Canada. But what are the thoughts going through your head as you see these two leaders sitting down? And also, what are the thoughts going through Cubans' minds and heads as they see this image as well?
Sure. I think the first thing that goes through their head is, oh my God, never in my lifetime would I ever thought I would ever see such a photo, number one. But I think the reactions are different. Of course, it depends on which Cubans at any given moment. But I think there is a certain attraction to the star quality that Barack Obama brings. So there's that whole kind of celebrity visit. But much more importantly, I think it is a very important visit for Cubans because of the sense of respect. That he's paying respect to the Cuban people, respect to the Cuban government in a relationship. It makes Cuba a more kind of normal country in the global community. They know that they're completely normal, but in a way, this is a confirmation of that. And of course, it implies to them that Cuba's moving forward in its economic development, which is what they're looking for.
Well, I wonder about that because we were in the commercial break talking about the dichotomy that exists with most Cubans, because on the one hand, they are looking for change in their country, and this visit symbolizes the desire for change. But juxtapose that as a true Cuban pride about the revolution and what it's accomplished.
Absolutely, and with many Cubans, you don't have to scratch very far to find this kind of multiple personality existing within the same person, where clearly they're interested in the economic development of the country and jobs and prosperity, et cetera, and what American capital could bring to that. At the same time, there is some unease that does not imply that kind of unfettered return of a large U.S. presence in Cuba, that it not come to mean a diminishment or a diminishing of Cuban national identity and the participation in the economic development of the country. In other words, they can't return to the past.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wonder, though, they can't return to the past, but the future also has a major roadblock in that even though Obama is in Havana right now, the blockade, the sanctions against Cuba by the U.S. Congress have not been lifted. They still are very much in place. How quickly can those sanctions go? Do you think Congress is in that direction now that this visit has happened? Can change happen without that embargo being lifted?
What the President of the United States is doing is utilizing all his executive authority right now, and President Obama has urged Congress to lift the embargo. For those of your viewers who are students of the United States, Congress is a very different beast. I think there's now bipartisan consensus in Congress that this is an anachronistic policy. It could take them quite a while to get their act together. They're in full election season, et cetera. But your point's well taken, because even though you have a visit like this, where the presidents are meeting and there is a time of great hopefulness, Cubans on the street are also quite accustomed to seeing this kind of thing, and they do believe in Cuba that the devil is in the details. So while there's announcements being made and Starwood's going to brand hotels, et cetera, what does this really mean for them in terms of the economic development of their country? And will American companies take value out of the Cuban national economy? Or can they even really participate with an embargo in effect? In a way, we're in this very strange gray zone where the president's visiting, yet there's still an embargo, which is an instrument of economic warfare against the very country he's visiting. So the entire U.S.-Cuba relationship is enveloped in this kind of surrealistic complexity.
Mm-hmm. And we're running out of time, but I do want to ask you the question, because here we are, we're now in the middle of a 3-day visit. How do you measure success? Or is the success the very fact that Obama is there in Havana? How do you measure this visit? I
believe that the success is fundamentally because he's there. I think it's one of these very different kinds of visits than one might measure by announcements. I often say it's kind of a transcendent style of visit where he's acting, and as is President Castro too, who we focus so much on Barack Obama, but Raul Castro at the same time, are trying to change the psychological relationship between two countries. And I think he could leave, President Obama could leave Havana with, even if he left with no announcements, it would still be an incredibly important visit.